Welcome back to the Backpacker Coach. So normally on this channel we do things about winter backpacking, summer backpacking, camping, that kind of thing. But I don't really have anybody to be able to go with right now because of COVID, so I'm kind of stuck at home. So I was surfing on the web, and I kind of found out about this interesting, mysterious case about Lisanne and Kris, the two girls that were hiking or doing a vacation kind of working trip in Panama, and found out about all the weird things that kind of happened and kind of dug into it more and found out that there was a lot of odd things that happened. There are so many red flags that it's like a military parade in China. It is just crazy how many red flags come up on this that tell you something's not right. So the first thing I want you to do, though, I'm not going to go through the whole general story. What I want you to do, pause the video, and I'm going to put a couple links in the description below, and you can check out the actual story, look at those couple links, and then when you're done, I want you to come back and we're going to kind of go in depth and go deeper into some of the stuff that is kind of wrong with all the stuff that's wrong with this case. And I'll think I'll show you a couple amazing things that you probably didn't see. So go ahead, hit the pause button, and we'll get started. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit generally about a couple things first before we go deeper and deeper into this mystery of Kris and Lisanne. So first, you can definitely tell that they were dressed for a very light hike. And what I mean by that is this trail at least takes 4.5 to 5 hours, which is like half the day. So I don't believe that they were really dressed or prepared to be able to, or wanted to go on a hike that was 4.5 to 5 hours long. You can see that they're dressed, lightly. They had one backpack, and you can tell that they only had one water bottle, at least as far as we could tell. So that really already sets off one set of flags that doesn't seem to be right. Most people, when they do this trail, they are usually set with backpacks, some sort of rain gear, that kind of stuff. They are usually at least more prepared. And being more prepared, Lisanne also, she was a backpacker and was apparently also did mountaineering. So she knew how to be able to probably take care of herself, and she would have known to take more stuff along if that was actually what they were going to do. So that is the first issue with this whole mystery, is just what they're wearing. The second little mystery that we are going to talk about is in all the pictures of all the girls, that if you looked at all the pictures before that you got to see, there are no pictures of the dog Blue. So you can tell that if you go through all the pictures, there's not one picture of the dog. So either the dog never came, or they were. So that's kind of odd. Another red flag that kind of goes up, because obviously if you go through the pictures, there's no dog. Another interesting thing is that the Pianista Trail is higher than the little town. So it is colder up there as well. So it would have been easily 50 degrees at night. And if it would have rained, I don't know at what point it rained. I know that the 10th day, apparently it was raining, but if it's 50 degrees at night and you're wearing, stuff like this, you would probably freeze to death. You would get hypothermic and you would probably die. It's highly unlikely that you would actually survive probably more than one night with what they had. Reason being, again, that's why I don't believe that they were prepared to go on a longer hike, because they only had one little backpack. They would have taken, at least both of their backpacks and had some stuff along, and both had water and whatever, but this just doesn't, that one doesn't make sense as well. Another one that is kind of odd is the girls didn't ever have like a goodbye video or anything. That makes no sense. Usually if you know that you're in a desperate situation and you're not going to make it, they would have probably had some sort of a goodbye video or other videos, and they at least didn't release them, or they didn't talk about them, but that's also kind of weird. Another thing is just in general of how few pictures were taken. I mean, if you're gone for 4.5, 5 hours, I would think that you would have taken a lot of different pictures of a lot of different things and a lot of cool things that you would have seen along the way. And they really only took a couple little pictures. So that also seems to suggest that that is not correct. And we'll get into more of why I think that they weren't even on this trail at all, that everything was photoshopped. So I'll kind of get into that as we go along here. Some more odd things. If you look at her hair, obviously the hair does not look like somebody who has spent 10 days outside in a jungle. I mean, that is perfectly clean hair. That's just obviously another thing that is completely, I mean, you'd be, wet, sweaty, dirty. I mean, that's perfectly clean hair. So that's another one that another red flag. Does not make any sense at all. That does not seem to be right. If I don't think I have it in here, but also the SOS part where you saw the little tiny gray strap. If you notice that, well, if you look at all this backpack, it is black. It is not gray. So that doesn't even make sense. They don't have anything that's a gray strap. So another odd thing that probably it's not even related to it. It maybe it was the wrong picture that went in or whatever, but either way, there's no gray strap. So I don't believe that picture is even correct or anything.
Looks like we've got another mystery on our hands.
Another huge, gigantic red flag. I don't think I have a picture of it in here, but is the backpack. Obviously, that's a huge, huge, crazy thing. For the backpack to actually be dry, probably like 5 miles, easily 5 miles away from where the girls probably fell in, if they would have fallen in at all. A dry backpack that's miles away, that suggests obviously that was planted. So that's a huge red flag. That's pretty obvious. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through some of these other pictures now, and we're going to go look into depth of these pictures. And I'm going to show you some things that are not quite right. So keep in mind that all these pictures were supposed to be from Lisanne's camera, and we don't have any other pictures as far as we know, at least from like Kris's camera. So, or if they are, they definitely are not these ones. So this first one, this was supposed to be from Lisanne's camera. So now if you zoom in, what do you see? Look right here. Look right here. What is that? That's a selfie stick. They didn't even have a selfie stick along on the hike as far as we know. So, as well as who is holding the camera or the, well, normally who holds or what holds a selfie, what is on the end of a selfie stick? Usually a cell phone. And so more than likely it actually is Kris's selfie stick as well as probably from her cell phone. So this image, or at least these two girls, were, this part of the girls were taken from her cell phone and photoshopped onto this background, because there's no other selfie sticks, or no selfie stick was in the contents. So that's the first odd thing. I just also noticed something else. What is that right there? That is something that is in the background of, it's supposed to be back here. That is some orange thing. Huh, that's very interesting. So that is not in the background. There's no orange rock or something in the back. So that's another interesting thing that says that's not right.
I wonder what else isn't what it appears to be.
Could be a reflection, but anyway, we obviously know selfie stick. First problem. So, next problem. If you look, this one could be a couple possibilities, so we'll see. But anyway, you can see Lisanne has the little bracelets, and sometimes she'll also put her her hair thing on this hand. But anyway, there's one there, so we know that she's wears those quite often, right? And if you go to this one, I think you can see she's wearing the same two bracelets, plus also she has her hairband off because her hair's down, which also is another odd thing as well, but we'll look at that in a second. So, but if you go to the first image, or the first couple images, and that's, remember, that's her left or her right arm, or left side. And if you go to this image, now obviously it's really fuzzy, but it doesn't look like there's anything there. But that also could be that it's just such a really poor image that it's, you know, we can't see it. So that might be one, or that could be a possibility, may not be. We're not really sure on that one, just because of that so poor resolution. But that's all. And then if we look at this one, you can see she's wearing the same little bracelets, and she's got her hair thing off on there. But so that's another interesting possibility, but not really sure. So now let's look at something even more interesting. You knew that they had, or at least they said they had one water bottle, and that was in the picture with the backpack. So you can see in we'll go to this one first. She has, you can see there's a water bottle right here. And you can also see that it's attached by some sort of a string around the water bottle. So it's always hanging off of her. So think about that for a second. If has it on her, or maybe a little, some sort of little carabiner thing. Okay, let's think about that for a second. There's this one. So this is the very beginning of the hike. So this is a very strange picture. One, there is no water bottle, almost something here, but can't tell. It also looks like she's holding another odd water bottle. It looks like there's a carabiner or something right here. But that just looks very strange. But besides that, let's look at another picture. So remember that she should have a water bottle attached to her. Well, no water bottle there. Nothing. No water bottle at all. Where is it? Okay. Let's look at this another one. There's another very interesting one. You look at this one. This is also really interesting. You zoom up, maybe not quite that far. It almost looks like there was a string or something right here. And they almost look like and see how there's like this area right here? It looks like they actually photoshopped out the water bottle. Why would they do that? And if there is no water bottle, or if they did Photoshop it out, or if they didn't, still the water bottle should be there. Don't you think? Because it should be attached to her. Another one. Water bottle should be attached to her. No water bottle. So, there's another odd problem. Also, some people say that this isn't quite right either, but I think like right there, that something's not quite right. But you never know on that one, so I'm not going to worry about the stripes on it. But here you can also see she has the water bottle attached to her on that last picture, the infamous last picture before they disappeared. And so you can see that there's a little string attached to it right around there. So that's that one. Okay, and the other thing that I wanted to look at was actually the water bottles themselves. I wanted to show you that they actually look different, or the way they're attached, they look different. So if you look here, this looks like, you can see the one water bottle, and then the cap actually almost looks like a clear cap, and looks like it's attached at the top. And this one, it looks like a white cap, and it looks like it's attached in the middle. Probably because it's a different kind of water bottle. That's at least the way it looks like anyway. So that's the other thing I wanted to show about the water bottles. They even look different. And this one even also possibly could be blue. And this one's clear. It's a possibility as well.
Jeepers!
So, next problem is the backpack. Very odd, but this is, Lisanne's backpack. And she wears this most of the time, all except for in a couple of the pictures, for some odd reason, all of a sudden, Kris is wearing the backpack. Now, that's just kind of odd. Why would they switch the backpack? Kind of weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So now the next interesting thing, which I think that's a really big thing. But here's another interesting one. So I was trying to put the pictures all together, kind of like to make a big picture of what the whole, and let's see, do I have another one? Okay, this one first. So, and I realized something as I was looking at all the pictures, that there are certain things that definitely this was this where all these girls, where the girls were taking these pictures. So let's go down to this first one. If you look at this Y thing right here, that is in this picture right here. And then if you look at this little spot right here, there's like two little houses in a little clearing. Then you can match that up to that picture. That's this right here. So you know that that's the same little area and the same bush. I'll back this up for a second. This little bush right here, this little nubbins, is this little nubbins right there. So then you can also take, and then if you go back to over here and look at this tree and these shrubs, you can see the same thing as this Y and this bush and this thing here. You look at this, and then you see that one, same, obviously the mountain in the background, but it's the same little area. So what I wanted to do though is I wanted to try to put this all together, but before I show you that all together, I wanted to show you this is kind of interesting. So look at these two pictures here. If you look at this picture here of Lisanne and see which direction is the sun coming from. It's coming from up here, coming down here, because it's light on this side and dark on this side. But if you look, and this, remember, is they're standing within like 10, 15 feet from each other, like within a couple seconds, like say 8, 12 seconds, they took the same picture, and she's standing over here. Now, of course, a couple odd things. One, it looks as though the sun is, well, it's very overcast, which also leads me to believe a couple things here. One, I almost feel like the sun is coming from the other direction. You really, or straight up, it's a little hard to tell, but it's very overcast. But see, if you look right here, it's darker than over here. So you'd think that the sun would probably be coming this way. And that's, although I guess that's the same way, but anyway, here's the next problem. You look at this picture, it's all nice and clear, except for a few little tiny clouds. And then this picture, it's extremely cloudy and nearly socked in. Obviously, there's hardly anything here and very cloudy there. So they had to Photoshop the two girls in a very, a cloudy like situation, because obviously it's not going to change like that in a couple seconds. That's not possible. So another thing, so you can see there that once again, see now Now look at that. Now it looks like the sun is coming this way and the sun's going this way. That's impossible. Because obviously the sun is coming from this direction on her. And the sun's coming this direction from her. The sun can't move. That would not be right. So that proves again that that is not, those are photoshopped images, that they stuck them onto these images. So now I wanted to take all these images and actually see if Photoshop could like just stick them all together, just to see whether, just to see what it would look like. So you can kind of get an idea of where they were kind of standing. This is Photoshop's merge program. But you can kind of just see the whole picture of where they were standing and where they were, or where they allege they were standing. Well, I don't think they were standing there at all. That they were all photoshopped into those images, because they don't make any sense. So anyway, but you can kind of get an idea of this area of where these pictures were taken, even if they weren't actually standing there at all. And of course, I don't think this would be true, because this was very nice and sunny, and this is obviously, this pictures over here were very socked in, and I don't think it would look like that. But Photoshop, just did a good job of merging it. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that's kind of an interesting picture of just kind of seeing the whole thing. Maybe I'll have to try that with the night pictures sometime and see what happens there. Okay, there's a couple more things to look at, a couple more red flags. So in this picture, if you zoom up, no matter how I look at this picture, if I look at her face when it's at this about here, it just looks, something looks like it's, you can almost feel or see that it was cropped right there. It just feels like there was it's a reflection or something there, like she was like standing next to something else that was really highly reflective. And obviously there's nothing reflective out here. So that really bothers me. Another thing that also a lot of people have mentioned is that if you look at almost all of the pictures, you can never see their feet. And so you don't really know. Oopsie. All except for, this one, you can see her feet there. And some people say that it looks a little elongated, which, who knows, this was taken off of a computer screen, so anything's possible there. But besides those pictures, that one there, you can't see any of the girl's feet except for these two here. You can see them there. But all the other pictures, you can't see their feet. So that's kind of odd. A little bit odd anyway. And even in I don't have a good faraway picture of this one, but even I have this blown up so you can see the water bottle, but even down here, there's a rock that's in the way, that's blocking her feet. But maybe that's just coincidence, I don't know there. But, so, another couple interesting tidbits of this odd mystery. So if you think that they made it to the top, and then they continued on down to, you can say, this last picture of, this last picture of her there. This one here. From here, it still would have easily taken almost a whole nother half a day to get to the monkey bridge where they supposedly fell into the river. So, first of all, that's a problem, because if they hiked even past this point for 2 more hours, that does not put them at the monkey bridge. So that is an odd thing. Now, I know people can speculate that they got off trail and they somehow maybe found the river maybe another way and maybe fell in. That, I guess that's a possibility, but it's highly doubtful that they were even alive. Probably, like I was saying, probably after a day or two, just because of the temperatures at night. But even so, if they weren't by any water, or if they got lost, that was the other thing, that all of the parents did this hike, and they showed how it's pretty much impossible to get lost on this trail. It's pretty much, you go up and then you can go down the other side, but even going down the other side, at least from here, and they went on a little further, there was no way to fall, or there was no way to get lost. There was nowhere else to go. You couldn't go anywhere else. So I know that there's definitely other media outlets and stuff that said, that there are other trails in the area and whatever all, but I just don't know about that one. I'd love to actually be interesting to do the whole trail and actually see it myself. That would be very cool. Probably that'll never happen. But anyway, that's the two other little things that also are kind of red flags that don't really seem to make sense. So there's another problem that also comes with this last picture, and that kind of also comes back to the original photos that I was talking about before, with that they were not prepared for going on a longer hike. And that is, if they were going on from here and they still, after this point, even 2 hours after that, considering that they went on after that for 2 more hours, that does not seem to make sense, because they were not prepared to go for that long of a period of time. That would have put them nearly, at dusk by the time that they were calling. And so that doesn't seem to make any sense. Why would have kept going on the trail when they weren't really prepared? They were not prepared at all to go that far. That's that problem. So that would mean, why did they even do that at all? And then the other problem is, if they did get lost or fall, they would have gotten lost or fallen just into a ravine somewhere. They wouldn't have ended up with their bones in the river down at the end of where the monkey bridge is. So that doesn't make sense either. And yet, there is another problem. So there were at least 3 people that said that they saw Lisanne and Kris going up the trail. Out of those people, this guy was the taxi driver, and he, within a short period of time, after the police and all that interviewed him, he was found dead. Jinkies! By drowning. Very mysterious circumstances. So that's kind of odd. There's also at least 2 other people that I will show you here that also said that they saw them.
Agrega que iban tranquilas.
Entonces me llamó la atención verla con las piernas desnudas, tarde, sin abrigar y cómo se iban a arañar las piernas por el camino por ahí para arriba.
En total unas 4 moradores, además del taxista que las llevó.
So if they really did see them, that doesn't make sense of the pictures look very photoshopped and do not make any sense. Or if maybe they went on maybe a part of the trail and maybe they did a little bit of the trail, maybe then they came back and then maybe somehow they met somebody that they shouldn't have met. And that's maybe then something bad happened. But we're really not sure. So, but that doesn't explain why there were at least 3 people that saw Lisanne and Kris. Were they lying? Were they paid? Obviously, this other guy, he obviously knows the area very well. Maybe, when he went back and he talked to everybody and told them what they needed to say. I don't know. But that is also one more problem in this case. I guess if we want, we could talk a little bit about the night pictures. I only have the picture of her hair here, but we can talk about that for a minute. If you look, you saw the other pictures. If you went back and you looked at any of the other videos that any people have posted, and you can clearly see that almost all of the pictures, except for maybe 1 or 2, they're all taken in the same area because you can see the little tiny Y in all the pictures of of the tree. And so it's kind of just taken from different advantages, maybe, looking to the left, to the right, maybe further up or whatever, further down. But almost in every picture you can see the same Y, or you can see the same parts. So they weren't, for whatever reason, that I'd say the bad guys who were actually taking the pictures, that really makes no sense. Why would you be taking 100 different pictures of just all that area? Now, I don't know if they've shown all 100 pictures. They've shown, maybe 50 or maybe, 20 or 30 of the pictures. I don't think we've seen all of them. So I don't think we actually even know what's in all of them. But also some of them, people have said that they're also just are black as well. So it's also possible that they just didn't publish all the other ones. That there was nothing there to see. But also, if you hadn't heard, that this, from Lisanne's picture, from the original reporter that actually got to see this whole picture, her head, or her other part of her like temple or whatever was up here, actually did have a cut on it, from what we have understand and what we heard. I'm assuming that the blood dripped down, and then that's why you see a little bit of red right here in her hair, and it rolled back, down along her neck and came down there. But obviously, I think, somebody killed her, and they probably hit her on the head And that was, you know, probably the first day. Probably somebody hand probably holding her skull, wouldn't doubt. But anyway, that's one other little bit of just my perspective on the whole thing. Or Lisanne and Kris, even on the Pianista Trail at all. So that's all I'm going to do for this episode. That's still just the tip of the iceberg. Let me know if you want me to do more, or let me know what you think about this mysterious case, and leave your comments below, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you next time.